Welcome to Three Count Commentaries. Let's talk about Impact Wrestling from September the 2nd, 2021. So, some notes from Impact before we get into the show. Apparently, AC Romero and Larry D are two guys who asked for their release. I don't think we'll be missing them. So, that's just out there. But Impact is losing a lot of talent. Hopefully they'll be getting some soon. Some of those 90-day clauses are just starting to come up. So maybe they'll be getting talent. They'll definitely get better talent than what they've got. But they did have some new people tonight. That's worth talking about. Well, at least one person. But we'll talk about it when we get there. So The Influence was defeated by Jordan Grace, Taylor Wilde, and Rachel Ellering. The Influence, for those of you who have not been paying attention, is Caleb Connolly, Tennille Dashwood, and Madison Rain. Caleb takes the pin because, of course, he does. Nothing matters. Gia Miller talked to Deonna Purrazzo, who said that she thinks her actions speak for themselves in relation to Mickie James. I'm guessing that's her next feud. Then Matthew Raywalt says that Deonna is the best and that Melina needed Trey in order to win. But now Trey has his attention. The artiste has the artiste's attention. This is not good for Trey. Trey should be moving up the card. Matthew Raywalt, it seems like a distraction. He just seems like a distraction. Like, nothing's going to happen with this guy. They've been trying to make him special, so at least that's it. Tommy Dreamer cut a promo basically talking about how, he won the ECW world title from Christian in a triple threat match. Christian interrupted and said, you never actually pinned me, but it would be an honor to get in the ring with you again for a world title. Tommy Dreamer, he talked about Tommy Dreamer, Jack Swagger, and Christian. That is your ECW world title match. Man, that was weird. Those were weird times, wasn't it? We don't have to worry about this because in the main event, Ace Austin defeated Tommy Dreamer with the fold. It was a sweet fold too. It was Tommy was in the ropes, kind of like a draping DDT, but it was like a net breaker, kind of like a blockbuster. And it was a pretty sweet pin, pretty sweet finish. They made Tommy Dreamer look credible by having Ace Austin almost lose to him via, I think it was a diamond cutter. I'm not sure they needed that. I think maybe Ace Austin winning clean would have been a better deal. I know that heels should cheat, but in some instances, I think this might have been one of them. It might have been better for Ace Austin to just plain win and beat Tommy Dreamer and once and for all without the chicanery. Because I think now we're just setting up a tag team match where, Madman Fulton gonna take the L and, Christian and Tommy Dreamer versus Madman Fulton and Ace Austin. I'm not looking forward to that. Not looking forward to that at all. So Decay, Black Taurus, and Crazy Steve defeated No Way, Jose, and Falaba. No Way, Jose has still doing the conga line thing. Tasha Steelz was dressed as a member of the conga line and attacked Havoc and Rosemary. That was a pretty interesting angle. I like that angle. Later Falaba and No Way would swear up and down he had nothing to do with this. They didn't know anything about it. Then they were confronted by TJP, as TJP was basically upset that Falaba had a new tag team partner. But everybody ended up being friends in the end, and now they're going to go gamble at Swingers Palace next week. But Falaba's got a gambling problem. Dum dum dum. What's going to happen? We don't know. So that ought to be something. W. Morrissey says that Sami Callihan made a big mistake getting in his business, sticking his nose in his business. But he likes that Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards don't like each other and admit to hating one another. And he respects that because most people in the business is fake. But these guys are real. Moose appears, says that, he agrees with Morrissey's message and that people are going to stab each other in the back, but says that he's got a problem with Sami Callihan and that he's also got a problem with Eddie Edwards. So later in the show, he came out to talk about Eddie Edwards, and he went full cartoon villain, saying that he's not the same guy that he used to be. He's worse. He's the devil, and that the hero doesn't save the day. And so he came out and they fight. Eddie Edwards beat Moose with his stick, and then Morrissey comes out to make the save. So, setting up another tag team match. Morrissey could be a guy that you could be using. Moose is another guy you could be using far better than they actually are using these guys. It's not good. It's not good. It just says a lot that the Impact roster is not building towards somebody outside of Josh Alexander. Somebody on this roster has to take the ball eventually. You know what I'm saying? Somebody has to. And you would think that would be a major focus, is on keeping somebody strong who can, beat Christian for the title. When they get the shot. It just doesn't seem like we're anywhere near that right now. Macklin is still feuding with Petey Williams, even though he beat him. Says that Petey Williams calls himself the Canadian Destroyer. He calls himself a destroyer. He doesn't know anything about destruction. And Macklin knows all about destruction. In fact, he says that he is mayhem. And they're going to have another match. And this match is going to be mayhem. All right. Violent by Design is back to brainwashing Rhino. Rhino is wearing I think it's a, well, I don't know what it is. But they put him in a hospital bed and covered him in the Violent by Design flag like he had been killed. And I thought that's really what I really believed for a second. Like, they about to murder this guy? They about to cover his face with a pillow or something? But they're trying to get the sickness out of Rhino. They should do it like a real, what's those things called? I was about to say a baptism. It's not a baptism. An exorcism. Where he's like tied to a chair and they're like beating his legs with kendo sticks like in Freddy Got Fingered. He's just like beating the shit out of his legs, like, get away from him, sickness. Get out of him. That'd be great. The next match, Josh Alexander defeats Jake Crist. This was in X Division Open Challenge. They, of course, said the Open Challenge was for former X Division champions, and Jake Crist, who was champion for a cup of coffee, I think a year or two ago. And it was a big old meh. Josh Alexander is tremendous. He's at the top of his game right now. I was very happy to see that he's been able to do this full time as far as make a career out of wrestling. I am always glad to see that he doesn't need a second job, that he can, wrestling can take care of his life now. That's a great thing. What really was interesting here, though, was the post-match, because I really enjoyed the post-match. It's my favorite thing on the show, because Chris Sabin came out there. Before Chris Sabin came out, though, Josh Alexander was talking about that he has to defend his title regularly, or pretty much every week. He has to do these open challenges, not just for the title, but for his legacy, and that for the Impact brand, and that he has to challenge those who have faced this, who had this title before, so that he can be the greatest of all time, so that he can be the best X Division champion of all time. He wants to be in the conversation as being the best X Division champion of all time. That's why he's doing this. That's why he wants these open challenges. That's why he wants weekly challenges. That's why you want new challengers. So Chris Sabin comes out there and says, well, you want to be the best X Division champion of all time, you're going to have to defeat the best X Division champion of all time. And Chris Sabin ran down his resume, which means he's a former 8 times X Division champion. So Chris Sabin says, if you want to be considered one of the best of all time, you got to beat me. And Josh Alexander accepted. And I like this. I love this. This is really good. It keeps the theme going. It's taking Josh Alexander to the next level, which is good. Chris Sabin, now I see why Chris Sabin beat Moose. They had Chris Sabin beat Moose so that he'll be credible against Josh Alexander. okay, but I would rather Josh Alexander wrestle Moose and Morrissey and those guys. The X Division is not about weight limits, so let's get those guys in there and let's do some work. But this ought to be fun. Chris Sabin can still go, not obviously not to the level that he could in the past, but he's still a name. He's still around. He's not a job guy like Petey Williams was, or Petey Williams loses like every other match he's in, and same thing with guys like Rohit Raju. So this is somebody who's at least coming off winning a feud, and so this ought to be fun. Sam Beal had put out a casting call for new flunkies for Brian Myers. They showed some of the submissions. They were almost all of them were cringe. In fact, no, not almost. They were all cringe. And then Brian Myers and Sam Beal had whittled it down to a couple of them. Just a couple guys left. And then we did a comedic spot where these guys would have some kind of quirk, some weirdness that forced Brian Myers to cut them. One guy was a fan of Mojo Rawley. He got... you know what? I actually agreed with that one. I agreed that you cut the Mojo Rawley fan. Another guy couldn't speak English, so he got cut. Brian Myers unmasked a luchador because he thought it was TJP, or he thought it was. Was it TJP or somebody? No, he thought it was Matt Cardona. And then it didn't work. But then he still cut the guy. And it came down to Manny Lemons and Zicky Dice. Now, Zicky Dice, I've seen him in NWA. He was pretty much he quit around the same time that Ricky Starks quit NWA. He had been sitting by the phone waiting for AEW to call him, just waiting and waiting and waiting. I think he may have worked Dark, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not, Dark has all kind of job guys on it. But I think he was expecting a job in AEW at a time before AEW had like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan and stuff like that. This would have been months ago. And it just never happened for him, but he also had this running thing with him and Nick Aldis about, they were going back and forth for a while. I think Nick Aldis is the reason he left the NWA. But Zicky Dice is okay. He has a bit of a personality. The name is horrible though. The outlandish Zicky Dice. But he at least looks like a character. He wears like a pink jacket. So he at least looks like a character. He may fit in Impact because, he looks like, if him and Sammy Callahan, they're the Nasty Boys. If you put the four of them side by side, Knobs and Sags, next to Zicky Dice and Sammy Callahan, that's the Nasty Boys. I don't know what else to tell you. Rohit Raju and Mahabali Shera defeated Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. I don't know what is up with them with putting Chelsea Green as Matt Cardona's partner. This is the second time I believe they've done this. We got to get off that, okay? We got to get off that. This would nah. I was about to say this could have been a nice spot for Trey McGill, but no, it's not. This is a shit spot. I know that Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green want to work together, but come on, we got to smarten up. We can't have Chelsea Green wrestling men, I didn't agree with it in the earlier match either. Just not a fan of it. So Su Yung and Kimber Lee said that some people they devour, other people they recruit or they convert. And now we see that Brandy Lauren is actually a part of this. Brandy Lauren is now a demon girl with Su Yung and Kimber Lee. And I like this. I like this because I believe I was pushing for Brandy Lauren to stay around a lot longer. And sometimes, I think I said this in a video, not a video. Maybe I said it in a video, but I reiterated it under a Jim Cornette comment section as they were talking about, if you were a wrestler, where would you want to go, AEW or WWE? And give you all these reasons why. And I was like, if I was a wrestler, I would have a much better opportunity in Impact or NWA or Ring of Honor, somewhere where there is no CM Punk, they're constantly trying to replace even the top guys in WWE and AEW. AEW is trying to add new WWE top guys every month. I mean, eventually there won't be any room for anybody new, if we're being honest. So it's better for, if you're a young talent, to go to Impact or Ring of Honor or NWA or MLW or something like that, where you might actually be able to get exposure and not be constantly overshadowed and pushed onto YouTube shows or, 205 Live, behind a paywall where nobody can see anything you do. It's a waste of bumps, if you're being honest. Just get an opportunity to be seen and to do different things. So I'm glad to see Brandy Lauren and Zicky Dice in Impact. I hope more people choose to go to Impact rather than go to AEW. And the more the merrier, the more the better. That can actually see long-term benefit in being somewhere other than WWE or AEW, because those places are just obviously going to, and then with this whole quote forbidden door garbage, you just having some of the same people jump ship over and over again anyway. Case in point, the Good Brothers. So the Good Brothers are, they cut a promo in the middle of the ring where they talked about putting Willie Mack through a table after they lost the tag team match. They basically downplayed it as a fluke. Rich Swann came out there by himself to fight the Good Brothers. All he had was a chair. You would think he would have came with something bigger and better than that, like a bat or a pipe or something like that. Of course, he got his ass kicked, but he was showing fire and wanted to fight them. He even wanted to fight them in the back. Then it was announced that by Scott D'Amore that Rich Swann will fight Carl Anderson in a bunkhouse brawl next week on Impact. A bunkhouse brawl. A bunkhouse brawl. Is it going to be one of those old school bunkhouse brawls where it's going to be like a cage and all that kind of stuff, or are we not doing that? We back to this whole, we're going to put bales of hay in the corner and somebody will get power bombs on a bale of hay or something silly like that, which is probably what's going to take place. That's probably what's going to happen, right? It's going to be like bales of hay and stuff like that, right? All right, so that's Impact. It wasn't much for me to get too excited about. They need to do a better job of booking their talent, man. They need to build somebody. They need to get somebody hot. That's really all it boils down to. Get somebody hot. I know Josh Alexander is kind of the guy right now, but he's kind of got the X Division belt. And unless you're going to have him win both belts, you need somebody else that's hot to challenge Christian. Otherwise, you're just going to be doing random number one contenders match. Oh, he wins a 6-man scramble, so he's the number one contender. Oh, he won a fatal 4-way. Now he's the number one contender. It's like, nah, man. Put some steam on somebody that can be in Christian's rearview mirror, And if they hadn't beat Morrissey, he would have been a perfect guy to basically be like, as soon as I get the shot, it's over. I'm going to, and then beat the pulp out of old Christian. And maybe Christian steals one and that's his first loss, or maybe you have Morrissey win the title, But he was just one of many options you could have. That's been one of my biggest issues. That and, some of the storytelling that they've been doing at Impact. But, I think a lot of those people who came from that were there for the Sam Beal segment, I believe a lot of those people were from OVW. I'm pretty sure I saw the guy with the bat guy. I'm pretty sure I saw him in OVW. I'm pretty sure. But I'm not entirely sure that the entire crew was from OVW. So maybe they're going to start actually leaning on some of that OVW talent that's down there and bringing some of them up, because it's been a long time since they have. All right, so spread the word with 3 Count Commentaries by subscribing, telling your friends about it, telling everybody you can about it, liking, sharing, subscribing to the channel, donating to the channel, helping with the algorithm. However you guys choose to support the channel is all right with me. And I'll thank you guys later, man. Peace out.